I get no kick from champagne. Beer out.
I got involved through my cousin, second cousin, called Lenny McLean, who's in the Lock, Stock and Smoking Barrel film. And so I was doing that from the age of 20, 23, 24, so I had a bit of experience. And they were pretty successful, those shows, but they were going nowhere as such as far as the quality of the boxing was concerned.
Yeah.
Border Control invited me to take out a licence, ran the show, and I got caught up in all their politics. I mean, they basically tried to get me inside the tent because I was quite successful outside the tent, and they'd done their best to sort of keep me down. The cartel were basically running the boxing back in those days, so it was pretty tough.
Out of you.
It was tough. I mean, you know, all those. I mean, I was a kid. I was 23, 24, and like these guys, all these tough guys involved and whatever. So I was, it was a good learning curve for me, and I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, I stood my ground and pretty, you know, done pretty well at it. But as I say, I didn't know any different. A few of my cousins boxed, so I was always I'm a big sports fan, but a big boxing fan. Used to go and watch them fight, but I didn't know. You know, it's like everything in what you know now. I just thought they were all okay, but it wasn't. I mean, you know, after a couple of shows, hang on a minute, the medical aspect here is not so good, and sort of tried to clean it up a bit. And the more you cleaned it up, the less appeal it had.
Yeah.
And there were only two venues in London.
Yeah.
And all it was the Albert Hall and Wembley. There was nothing else around the country. There were no big venues like nowadays.
Yeah.
Just Wembley, 10,000 seated, and the Albert Hall, which because of the benches, you only had 3,500 tickets, but the cartel had the exclusive on it. So I had to even go and find my own venues to promote it, you know, be creative in that, like hotel ballrooms and things. I think it was bringing Bugner back, because everybody I spoke to said, "You must be mad." I mean, this is the guy they love to boo.
Yeah.
But I brought him over, and we met him at the airport, and there were so many photographers there, and I thought, I knew there and then that, you know, the fact that all the papers those days, and that all the newspapers, they had dedicated boxing journalists and so forth, and they were all there. I thought, this is going to take off.
Some they make.
Getting the television, you know, getting IT. I mean, I did my very first TV show, actually, was on BBC, and I had to more or less give it away for nothing. They'd done their best not to broadcast it because they were sort of had a long-term contract with the cartel. They didn't want anybody else upsetting the apple cart. There was no decisions to be made back then. It was all pretty smooth and running, and Border Control didn't have to make any decisions between promoters because it was one group.
Yeah.
And I was up against Jarvis Astaire, Mickey Duff, Harry Levine, and Mike Barrett, and it was tough because there was four of them. I was, you know, in some ways I was a kid.
Yeah.
And but I had to bash on with it, and getting the television on board, getting ITV and the guy, it was Thames Television when I first started with him. A guy called Bob Burrows, who got on board, and he was so supportive. I mean, he was great for me. You know, we got great ratings with the Bugner fight, and then everybody got bitten by the bug. And then I started doing so many shows for them. I mean, one year I did 45 TV shows for them.